stuff. So George, my friend, was playing "Ain't Too Proud" as Run in Berkeley, and I was auditing the book in hopes that he would break a finger or something, and I'd get to sub that show for him. And so, I mean, he's playing his behind off, and I'm trying to keep up and everything, but I'm working up an appetite, right? So we finally get a break. I got to go to the bathroom. I got to get something to eat. And the break is like 10 minutes or something like that, right?
It's intermission.
Whatever it was, it felt like there was no time. So I'm walking around the house like I don't have any time to go get anything to eat. So I'm running back to get in the pit, and I see this big bowl of chips. I said I'm just gonna grab a handful of them chips, and I grabbed a chip or two, and it was like, man, these chips. Wow, you tugged at them, and they didn't just come out of the bowl. You got to tug at them a little bit.
It didn't
and
move.
I put it in my mouth, and I was like, God, dog, these chips are stale. And so we get back in the George is like, you didn't eat that, did you? I was like, I did. He's like, it's a prop. It's a prop.
Yeah, it was a bowl of potato chips that was sprayed with adhesive, and that's why you couldn't get it out of the bowl.
So
right, that's
really,
why they also you were eating like straight up adhesive. I don't know. I don't know the
so,
brand.
So what you're trying to say is I'm the original Gorilla Glue person, right?
You are the gorilla. Inside and out now.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Wow, that story is not gonna get old. This is
not ever.
No, that's just gold. I mean, dude,
Yeah,
this is
man.
incredible. Anyway, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. It's good to see you. I'm honored that you would have a little old guy like me on your show.
Oh, of course. Are you kidding me? I'm honored that you're making yourself available and all that.
That's right.
Do me a favor and
send me the check.
yeah,
What you need?
that ain't gonna happen. Tilt your screen up a little bit. No, the other way. Yeah, much better. Yeah,
Oh, is
because
that-
we were losing your head.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I was asking my girl, does this plant make my head look big? Well, I'm here for at least an hour, so I got to. Hey, okay, this is the last corny joke. I just heard this one.
Go for it.
Do you know what generation Forrest Gump is in?
No idea.
Gen A. Gen A. No? Okay. I just said that on a live stream. And,
Wow.
And
Wow.
now I have
Yeah,
I have to regain my respect.
yeah, well,
If I had any to begin with after the chip story.
I didn't even like prompt it. I didn't ask for all of that. Like you just come on and there you are,
I'm just happy to talk to people at this point. I'm still spitting out chips. I'm just happy to talk to people, man.
Man, same here.
After a year of being, pretty isolated,
Yeah, tell me about it. It's crazy. It is crazy, and every time I go into the city, into Manhattan, it's not a ghost town. Idiots are calling it a ghost town or whatnot. It is not. It is not a ghost town, right? But if you know Manhattan, if you know New York, and you know how busy it can get, right? And you see it now, it's
comparatively.
Okay. Yeah, what is this? Now all of a sudden, like every day is, when it gets quiet in the city, it's like Sunday. I'm gonna say Sunday, 5:30 in the morning, right? That's what it feels like. Like there's still activity, there's still movement and all of that, right? But it's a lot less.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. But anyway, listen, how is it in New Orleans? How are you in New Orleans?
We just I got my regular gig back. One of the regular gigs that I had on Bourbon Street, I got it back a couple of weeks ago.
Nice.
It's nice-ish. I mean, we got to see. I'm like cautiously optimistic.
Right.
I have taken my first vaccine shot. Waiting to get the second one. Still wear the mask. And I was always kind of cautious about people being around me because I didn't want to catch anything, you know, it was
Right.
Bourbon Street.
Right.
But you know, the crowds that have been on Bourbon Street, man, you'd think that 2020 never happened.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So
That's crazy.
You know, my gig is in sort of in the middle of the day,
Right.
so the capacity limit doesn't really affect us that much. Although this past Sunday there was a point where they closed the doors,
Oh wow.
which was weird. There were people inside and they closed the doors, and everybody's looking around like, "What are you guys doing?" You know what I mean? But you know, they couldn't let anybody else in.
Yeah.
So when I say cautiously optimistic, just like, you know, they turned the lights off so fast last time, you never know when that's going to happen again.
Right. I hear you. Well, I mean, you know, fingers crossed that shit will finally
Yeah.
move in the right direction, because
Hopefully.
you know, we're definitely ready for it. So, but let's get into it. Let's get into the subject of today's live video, which is Uptown Mardi Gras morning, the sound of New Orleans. And I just told the audience how we met, and like in 2017 when I came to Oakland and all that, and I took a lesson from you, you know, about the sound of New Orleans, and that, you know, I'm a big fan of that city, and to have you on today is such a treat for me, and hopefully for the audience as well, because we get to talk to someone in New Orleans about the sound of New Orleans, and that is just invaluable, right? So thanks so much for making yourself available. It really means a lot to me. Let's get into it. Sound of New Orleans. What are the first things that come to mind?
Well, I first want to tell you this, and I always like to tell people I'm no expert on
Right.
New Orleans music
Right.
or New Orleans bass playing. Right? I grew up here in New Orleans, and it's sort of like, you know, the way that you know, your parents speak. You hear them speak, and you just pick up this accent, or, you know, slangs and lingos. You just pick it up, right?
Right.
When I was here growing up in the city, my eyes were Minneapolis and, you know, Ohio and different places like that. But of course, I'm getting all the influence of the stuff around me. The real sort of education came from playing with Zig.
For those who don't know, that's Sigaboo Modelis, the drummer of the Mighty Meters.
Yes, probably one of the most sampled drummers
In history. Yeah.
And you know, being in that chair was like Funk University.
Yeah.
You know, like it may sound a little arrogant, man, but you know, not many drummers can tell me much of anything. After 9 years with him, you know, 5 or 6 years with Ronnie Beck, who played for a while, took over from Garibaldi and Tower of Power, and some young. I mean, but Zig, it's like,
Yeah.
you know, it's a hard chair to survive. But back to your question, one thing I could say is that the funk of the city is like the vibe of the city. Maybe
Right.
it's the heat. You know, nobody's in a rush to get anywhere. You know what I
Okay.
mean? There's a saunter. There's a real saunter about it. Like, you know, when I think about comparatively East Bay funk, you know, Tao or things like that, there's a sort of rigidity to, and I know that almost sounds sacrilegious to say that, but you know, Rocco's playing is very precise, very,
Right.
you know, it's, you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And it's definitely more rhythmically active.
Yeah, and you know, the stuff here is more. It's just a lazier thing. It's a little bit sloppier. I did bring a bass. Can you hear that? Okay.
Yes, that's great.
So, like, you know, just, you know, if I'm playing something like just there's a bunch of like nobody cares about the noise and the the thing is just a thing,
Right. Right.
but it feels like walking down the street in the summertime in New Orleans.
Pretty much all year round. I mean, that's the other
Pretty
thing.
much all year round in New Orleans, yeah.
Right? I mean, for real. No, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Thanks so much for bringing the bass. That's awesome.
For you, George.
Oh, thank you. This is, I brought
For
some
you.
I brought some Cheetos.
Oh, you brought some Cheetos. Well, I got tortillas. Whenever you say that you took a lesson with me, right? First of all, when you contacted me, and then I knew you were coming from New York, and then I looked up who you were. I was like, what the hell does this guy want to take a lesson with me for? And this was right before the Ain't Too Proud gig happened, because you couldn't talk a lot about it.
Right.
And then I sat there in the pit with you, and I'm like, I need to be taking a lesson from this guy. It's like for real, you are a beast.
Oh man, that is super nice of you. I appreciate that very much. There's no doubt. No, listen, it was it is one of those things where I wanted to, as I said, I wanted to get that sound into my DNA, right? I had been in New Orleans a couple times before I met you. I played the Essence Festival with Omer LaRue.
Ooh, yeah, nice.
And then I did a movie, the Lady Day at Emerson's Bar and Grill, a show that I did here in New York, shot as a movie in New Orleans, right, for HBO and all that with Audrey McDonald. We were on Frenchman Street at the Café Brazil. We were there for a week, right? And as you do in New Orleans, before and after shooting, we were pretty much going out and checking out music, because there is live music everywhere and at all times, right? Yeah. So it blew my mind. It really did. The amount of live music and the fact that in New Orleans it is absolutely considered normal that you have your 9 to 5, you come home, you perhaps eat dinner and or change, and then you go out with the express purpose of checking out a band.
Well, I'll tell you, when I moved back, I've been back almost 2 years now, I think. I was really lucky to start working almost immediately.
Wow.
And what that looked like was I was playing, and this is working full time as a music teacher as well, right? In the school system.
Right.
I would play on Monday night at Maison with a band, Sierra Green and the Soul Machine. I played there from 10 to 2. Nice. Thursdays, Cafe and Grill, 10 to 2.
Right.
Fridays, Bamboolas, 10 to 2. Saturdays, we do the 21st Amendment from 6 to 10. And then another club from 10 to 2. And I'm working a full-time job. Now, for those watching, things are different now, past COVID, but before,
right?
Like, I'm not taking nothing away from the musicians on Frenchman or anywhere in the city.
Right.
Nowhere in the city. But there are holes in the wall.
Right.
Or is that right, babe? Holes in the wall. Not hole in the walls. Hole in the walls.
Yeah.
There are
holes in the wall. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what I mean. There are.
Wait a second. I need another chip.
He needs another chip. Can you hear him? Oh, he's sorry, teasing me about the chips. So I don't know if this is like a PG-13 show or whatever.
No, not at all. Please, talk trash. It's all good.
I'm gonna be like, hey, George.
This deserves a Dorito.
This deserves a Dorito. Jesus. So, but there's lots of spots though, man, that are lesser known, where like the OGs are playing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they really, and they're getting down into the books.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They really getting down into the books. we talked a little bit a few weeks ago, and about sort of the arrogance of older players
Oh
sometimes
yeah,
or whatever. So I never want to come off like that.
right.
But like Frenchman is the tourist thing,
Yeah,
or
of
was
course.
the tourist thing.
Yeah, yeah.
When I was growing up, bourbon was a thing, but it
Right.
was not Disneyland like it is now, where people are
Right.
walking around with their kids and strollers. It was very raunchy and low down. But the OGs playing the stuff, right?
Right.
And then you go to you go into what's the place? Bullets, prime example. A lot of different spots, man, where there's just Kermit's Mother-in-Law Lounge, which used to be Ernie Cato's Mother-in-Law Lounge back in the day. Sweet Lorraine's is really only been, I don't know how long they've been around. Over 15 years, I think.
Wow.
But just places. Let me get back to what I was saying. It feels like the younger crowd on Frenchman is like, how loud, how fast, how
Right.
How much can I play,
Right.
but then not really being able to get down
Mm.
in some books, you know what I mean? And it's just stuff that you figured, man, you should be able to pull that out of your behind at any moment.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm drawing blanks right now of songs I'm thinking about, but
Well, that's all right. That's totally fine. I mean, where I ended up was I didn't only end up at Frenchman, right? I did go uptown, Bon Temps Roulé,
Yep,
went up
yep.
to Tipitina's,
Yep.
and then there were. I mean, here's the thing: like when we shot that movie, I was out basically until sunup.
Yeah.
Then went back to the hotel.
Yeah.
Took a nap and went back on set. So
Yeah.
a lot of my details are a little hazy. That's just the reality of the thing. But that was sort of that was my extent of knowing, in quotes, knowing New Orleans, right? Aside from having a rudimentary knowledge of the music of the Meters, and knowing that the Neville brothers are cool. Like that was it, right? So that was behind me contacting you for that lesson, quote unquote lesson. What you said back then, that it is laid back. It is sort of there is an ease to it. There is a sauntering that's happening. It's funny that you use that word because I remember you using that word back then as well. Let's go into a couple artists, right? Because you hipped me up to some people that I didn't know existed and that have since kind of changed the way I hear music, right? This is
I don't know what I said, but here we go.
well,
Might be in a chip coma. I don't know.
but who are some artists to listen to?
Are you talking about New Orleans artists?
New Orleans, yes, yeah.
Right now, there is a I don't want to say a young band. There's a lot of young cats in it. A band called Chawa.
Oh wow.
It's a Ari Title, who's from Detroit actually, but Ari J Title, I call him Jerome because he's a young Jewish kid. He's like, I'm like, there's a 300-pound black man playing guitar in there. Joe Gelini on drums, Joseph Boudreaux. It's Joseph Monk Boudreaux's son is the front man of this. It's Mardi Gras Indian thing. Funky as hell. They just dropped a tune called My People and something else. I can't remember the name of the last tune. Grammy winners.
Wow.
And I've had the opportunity to sub quite a bit with them since I've been back. Man, I am drawing serious blanks right now.
That's all right. I mean, we were talking about people like John Cleary.
Oh,
right?
John, yeah.
We were talking about Eddie Christmas.
Big D Perkins.
Big D Perkins, what's his the other monster gentleman, the bass player.
Clarence.
Oh,
Jesus, I'm drawing blanks.
you see, we need another chip.
Well,
That's
I've been at work all day, so
I need chips. I mean, that's just.
and I don't know him that well. I can't remember his last name right now. And
Anyway,
I'm
if
ashamed.
anybody watching and listening, check out John Cleary and the Monster Gentlemen. You know, that is one funky band. Tootie Ma and the Wild Magnolias.
Wild
Crazy.
Magnolias, absolutely.
Crazy funky band, right? Then the one band that I heard while I was there, Dumpster Funk.
Dumpster Funk. Nikki Glaspie is here. But Nikki and Nigel have a thing out here as well.
Okay.
And I'm only leaving them out because they're East Coast cats.
Oh wow.
They're East.
That's cold.
I don't know where. Well, nothing against you East Coast cats, but if you were talking about just straight up New Orleans stuff, you know what, George? We need a buzzer. We need a buzzer.
Unbelievable.
We need sound effects.
That deserves a Dorito.
Well, I see you're a Dorito, and I raise you a tortilla.
I got cheesy puffs, motherfucker.
You got cheesy puffs. You got some. Wait, hold on a second. I got backup. Okay, I got backup. Let me see what you got.
Oh, that is funny. That is funny. Come, bring it.
Yeah, keep
bring
talking.
it. I'm in Brooklyn.
It's like I'm in Brooklyn. It's Brooklyn, baby. I feel like the dueling banjos.
Oh yeah, most
should be
definitely.
playing.
Yeah. But here, let's
I don't even know what these are, but they're bigger than yours.
Well, I mean, that's a mighty big chip. Just saying, Do you know what you're getting into?
I'm not messing with you, George.
That is funny.
All right.
Well,
I'm sorry. I'm so unfocused.
It's totally fine. It's all good. But let's get into the significance of the gig with Zigaboo, right? Because again, like there aren't that many people that I know, right, who actually have played with someone of his stature, right? And this also speaks to like what a strong player you are. That you can hold your own, right?
Thank you.
Next to someone like Sig. What are some takeaways from that?
I'm going to tell you the biggest takeaways from one of the biggest takeaways from Zigaboo's gig is that parts will always be important. Bass parts
Right.
will always be important. One of the first things he ever told me, he said, learn what George did, then do your own shit.
Right.
And he said it exactly like that. I want to really tell the story of how I got that gig.
Go for it.
Because it is, I don't think I'm a hot shit bass player. I think I'm a lucky guy, and any successes that I've had from playing the bass guitar have come from doing regular bass player shit consistently. On top of normal people things like showing up on time and not being hard to hang with. So my friend Daryl Landers from Dunlop, he had played for a long time. Zig knew who I was, but he had never played with me. He'd never heard me play. And he is a guy that is very particular, obviously, about bass players, right?
Yeah.
So he had a situation where somebody stood him up.
Oh wow.
It was a 2-night thing in San Francisco, and so he called me. And I wish to God I still had this voicemail. I got this call, and a lot of people know me as Bliss. So he calls me up. He's like, "Hey Bliss, this is Zig Abu." He would
That's how he talks.
Yeah,
that's exactly how he talks.
Abu. He was like, "Hey, look, I need a bass player." I was also in the middle of preparing for West Side Story.
Oh wow.
which is hard stuff.
Yeah.
And also flying to Austin to check it out for a month to make sure that I would, because I was planning on moving to Austin.
Right.
And so before I called him back, I'm like, shit, he's going to want a bass player when I'm not available, and I'm going to miss this opportunity. Turns out I was available. The catch was I can't do no rehearsals.
Right.
Because I got West Side Story coming.
Right.
Right. And, you know, it's like one of those things you know, I didn't want to miss either opportunity, but I couldn't just blow, you know, the stuff I was doing West Side Story. So I say, yeah, Zig, I could do the gig, but I can't rehearse. I said, but I'm funky though. And he, you know, and that was a nervous thing. And his response was, we'll see. He said it just like that.
So messed up.
He said it just like that. And so I was shedding stuff. And the Zig organization wasn't like, okay, here's a set list.
Right.
And here's, you know, here's a Dropbox with all the tunes. Right. No, man, this was like a scavenger hunt for like meters deep cuts. And not only meters deep cuts, but Zigaboo's own repertoire.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? Because like some people think we just playing meters tunes the whole time. It's like, nah, we, you know, play a 2-set gig. We're playing a lot of his original music as well.
Right.
And so, and the guitar player who I love now, but didn't really, when I first met him, Chris, was kind of a guy that stuck his chest out a little bit. You know this, you know this, you know that part, and people say, I was like, yeah, I got it, you know. And so he was like, oh, okay, we'll see, because that's the part that everybody fucks up. And so
it's very encouraging. I mean,
but I shared the shit like I'd never heard it before.
Of course.
You know what I mean? I shared it like I never heard it before. I get to the sound check for the first gig, right? Zig ain't never heard me play,
right?
Until the sound check,
right?
Until the sound check, and then he looks, he finishes playing a song, and he look on the drums. You sound like a bad motherfucker. Now you would think that since I got that vote of confidence, I was safe, right?
Right.
I spent like 2.5 years, man. Like, okay, I'm on my 15th audition.
Oh wow.
You know, and when he wasn't, when he wasn't happy about something, you know, he
let you know.
It was obvious he wasn't happy about it. But I learned that the part is always gonna be the part.
Right.
You know, no matter what else you do, as long as you come, and that's what funk is to me, whether it be East Coast, West Coast funk, whatever.
Right.
Groove.
Right.
You know, can we just talk about that for a minute? I mean, you ask a person what groove is, and they get into these big esoteric things.
Right.
And there are under the umbrella of groove. I like the way Victor Wooten breaks it down. There are all these different elements, right?
Right.
But a groove is a motif, is a pattern.
Right.
The groove is that's the part.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And surprisingly, there's a lot of cats for whatever reason either can't or refuse to play the same shit twice. You know what I mean? And that's not, you know, I know there's some new kind of, you know, things that are in vogue and all that.
Not taking anything away from that.
Not taking nothing away from them, but the thing that's going always from now until the end of time that is going to get people to move,
right,
and dance,
right, is
when that bass, when them bass and drums,
right,
are locking in, doing their thing. The other day on Bourbon Street, I was thinking about, I was watching guitar player, fantastic guitar player, Kenny Brown. He playing a monster solo. People go, ah! Keyboard player, Jay Sharp, Gentleman Sharp, killing it on the, oh, that's another band. They're more of a pop band. My boy Jay plays with a band called Waterseed out here in New Orleans. But they're doing some dope stuff as well. Yeah, you know, you're doing their thing. And everybody's, yeah. Nobody's, you know, unless I just come out with something just like real stupid,
Right.
But if I stop playing,
It's over. Yeah. Everybody will notice it.
everybody knows this when it's not there. I've met people that once they started talking to me and understood that I play bass, heard me play bass, they started paying more attention to the bass in music that they listen to.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because we are so often felt and not heard.
Right.
If that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's that totally. I mean, this, and not for nothing. Like the MD with whom I was in New Orleans doing Lady Day. His name is Shelton Beckton. I also had him on for one of these follow-up videos, right? Shelton is from a generation where he's like, I want to feel the bass, but not necessarily hear it, right? But I want to feel it. I'm looking for that, right? It was very, very important to him. And I'm forever grateful to him to at least verbalize it that way. It was great, I totally hear what you're saying in terms of the repetition being necessary and being sort of an essence. The part always comes first. There's just no two ways about it. There's no. Of course, we're not taking anything away from the shredders. We're not taking anything away from the people who are really out there, the so-called gospel players, whatever fuck that's supposed to mean, right? I'm not a big fan of these labels, but the parts are important, right? There's if of course music evolves. That's like everything else. Like the sun rises in the morning and sets at night. That's just what happens. So, of course, music is not going to, or at least shouldn't stay still.
No, it shouldn't. Absolutely not.
Shouldn't become stagnant, and therefore, yes, there is going to be change in our definitions and our, we're going to push the boundaries of whatever styles we're playing. Yes, all of that is good. Nevertheless, the repetition of the groove is something that's perhaps almost sacred, which kind of brings me to just one quick question that I wanted to ask you, and that has to do with Black Indians, Mardi Gras Indians in New Orleans. I did a whole series of videos about Native American influences into pop music, into R&B, into what we understand our cultural collective to be, right? And a big part of that is happening in New Orleans with Mardi Gras Indians, with the Wild Chapatulas, the Wild Magnolias, whatever the names are, right? What in your opinion or in your experience, like what are the influences that come from that group, from that cultural entity?
Rhythm.
Okay.
Rhythm. New Orleans is you've got that influence. You've got the Caribbean influence. All of those things are, of course, the African influence, right?
Yeah.
Is rhythmic, and I do not ever want to present myself as an expert on.
Of course not. No. And
on any of that stuff. I wish I would have known you would ask that question. I would have loved to have Joseph on because he is an Indian. I've got a buddy of mine as well who's an Indian. There's a lot of different tribes here in the city, and that was African Americans' way of paying homage, to the Native Americans that had assisted them.
Yeah.
But when you look back at those cultures, the drumming of those cultures,
right?
That's back to your original question. Playing the bass, back to the MD you were talking about. He wants to feel the bass,
right?
Instead of as opposed to hearing it,
right?
It's like you've got a tuned drum,
right?
You see what I'm
right.
You see what I mean? Now my particular, it's funny. I moved back home, and then all of a sudden, like when I'm here, I'm seeing George Porter like everywhere. And then when COVID first started, so George, I'm like, there's George with the tie-dye mask. Of course, he got a tie-dye mask. But so what I was gonna say with that was like, George is playing a P bass, right?
Right.
he's got a much darker sound.
That's true.
Well, now I come into town, or even playing with Zig,
Right.
I've got a little bit of a brighter sound. I
Right.
still, because I'm more influenced
Right.
by the Grahams and the Louis Johnsons and all that. So
Right.
I'm playing, bright strings and
Right.
stuff like that. But again, you still want to have like that. You don't want to lose that
Yeah.
tune drum.
Yeah.
vibe. You
Yeah,
know
that
what I'm
makes a
saying?
lot of sense. That makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense. Just for a second, can we talk about how awesome is George Porter Jr.?
No.
No.
I'm sorry. George Porter Jr.
Yeah.
George Porter Jr.
Well,
is
you know,
awesome. He is. He really is awesome. And George is watching George on slide.
Yeah, this is wait. Have a chip.
I'll chip to that.
Yeah.
You a mess.
I know.
He says I know.
I mean, look at me. I'm sweating here. This is terrible. Okay. At least I got the fan going. At least my glasses are not fogging up. Like I would really be in trouble.
No, that's why I didn't wear no glasses.
Oh, so you really can't see me.
I got contacts on, bro. Dang, man. Dang, bro. Does this plant make my head look big?
You know.
No, George is he's another cat that's just like, I don't know George well at all. I mean, there's obviously younger cats in the city that know him a lot better than I do. But, this is George.
Oh yeah.
And when I played with him at Zig's birthday, he was doing this. I thought something was wrong.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm playing, and first of all, I'm like, fucking hell, I'm like dual bassing with George Porter. How many people can do that? And he's doing like that, and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? What's wrong? But
Ted, you need to work on your self-worth, okay?
I know.
You
I
are not.
know.
You just hold your head up high, take a deep breath. It's
Let me
going
have a
to be
chip today.
have a chip. It's gonna be okay.
No, man. He saunters.
Yeah.
He saunters. He's just laid back. He's not playing all over neck. And you listen to his solos as well.
Yeah.
Like.
Well, his solos are a whole nother thing because all of a sudden it's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, right?
Yeah, but it's still not like. It's not like mute math or It's not. It's relatable and
right.
Like, why do you feel it? You can hear it.
Yeah.
Can we talk about this for a second?
Go for it.
We're talking about rhythm, and that is most important. But then also shapes across the neck. Like you take. All night.
Right.
And you got a million videos where people are talking about chord tones.
Right.
And stuff like that, right? And there's some folks I come across that have such a hard time understanding that kind of concept, right? I'm like, playing triads, bro.
Right.
This is what New Orleans feels like.
Yeah. For real.
At whatever tempo. All day.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we're playing traditional stuff.
Right.
We're playing tuba lines. You know what I
There you
mean?
go. Yeah.
And so some of your stuff may be, limited by the mechanics of the tuba.
Right. Right.
And then you got to try to figure out how to translate that to the electric bass.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tuba lines are going to, typically be in flat keys.
That's correct.
You know what I mean? So I love my 4-string, and I really enjoy playing 4-string. I don't care to tune down.
Right.
So my sort of safety net is playing a 5-string.
Right.
That just feels better for me.
Right. Right.
But the major triads, minor pentatonic,
Right.
dominant shit, dominant
All night.
all night
Yeah.
long.
Right. 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 And
All
that
night
is
long.
that is only if we were to sort of take a musical analytical approach, right?
Yeah.
If
yeah.
we were to take like an emotional approach, it means people are going out and are partying all night long, or just trying to get away from their 9 to 5, trying to
Yeah.
get away from all of that, right? And trying to have a moment together in another environment that's not at home, right? So all of that makes New Orleans, all of that, in my opinion, of course, like, and I'm not a specialist either, right? But I'm just an aficionado of the city and of the music, right? That's really, really important to sort of kind of get in your mind and get in your soul, if you want to learn this particular music, this particular style of playing, right? Go ahead.
New Orleans, I have a love-hate relationship with New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
It is no secret to anybody.
Okay.
Most of the people that I meet, that were just like, oh man, this place just called me, and I'm just, I just have to be here.
Right.
Being a third-generation New Orleanian, having grown up here in not the Disneyland sort of thing that we see on television, I have a different relationship with it. But when I ride around the city and I see, I'm like, damn it, how lucky I am to have been raised here and to be, to be influenced by the stuff here. But then there are also a lot of things that are broken that also shows up,
right,
in the music. Like really a New Orleans groove, a bass line is like, oh man, this is gonna sound bad. I know we in. I don't want to say nothing that's gonna get me canceled.
What? You haven't even said anything.
Not yet. I mean, it's like it's like watching a fine woman walk. You know what I'm saying? Now, see, we can get in trouble kind of for saying stuff like that nowadays.
No.
Back in the day.
Supposedly, this is what Jameson told his son. Now, when he saw a particular woman walk down the street, and he looked at her behind, and it went ba-boom, 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 ba-boom.
Yeah.
That's how he played.
Yeah, shit. I was playing with LaToya London in Oakland, and it was one of the weird gigs, man. It was a New Year's Eve gig. And somebody had hired this young drummer that really couldn't really cut it. And just nothing against him, he just wasn't cutting it on the gig. And I was trying to help him out. I said, look at her. I said, if she's standing still by that mic, it's a problem. I said, you watch her ass, boy. She start moving. It's particularly if she start getting,
into it,
expressive with it. You doing your job right. It don't matter. None of this other shit that other people are doing.
Right.
Bass and drum is like cake and icing. If you had to eat a whole bunch of cake, right? You can eat cake and be sustained. If you eat too much icing, you get sick.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
I hear you.
So, but back to what I'm saying though, it's like if you're in New Orleans for any length of time and you observe the people here, particularly the natives,
right?
Even if they're not musicians or have anything to do with music at all,
that's important.
It's just like I said before, I became a better, if I'm to be honest, I became a better musician in California,
right,
than I ever was when I was in New Orleans,
right.
But it was like it's like all the shit your mama teaches you, and then you go try to do your own thing, and then all of a sudden, all the shit that you were hearing subconsciously kind of comes out.
Right.
People say you play how you are. You play how you are. So I am a product of the city. So even though I didn't necessarily, when I was here, study the music of the city, it still came out. And Zig used to get on me too, because you asked me about Zigaboo's influences. You know, when Zig was a teenager, when they were doing the meters and all that, he is the blueprint for some of the funk shit. You see what I'm saying? So what was he listening to? He's listening to Lee Dorsey and Fats Domino and crooners.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? And he would sometimes croon.
Right.
You know what he would call screaming off key, but you know, or screaming on key rather. But you know, but that's, you know what I'm saying. But then he would pull out, you know, a oop oopy doo, you know, something.
Yeah. And it's so real.
Blueberry Hill or something like that. And he'd be like, and if I said I didn't know something, he'd be like, come on, bro, that's home. And then he would come with like CDs. Hey, listen to this. And it was no funk shit. It was all that crooner stuff. All the doo-wop shit. You know what I mean?
That's
but now,
crazy.
Damn it, I lost my train of thought. I forgot what I was gonna say, but
well, you were talking about Sig and you know, your sound is who you are, basically, right? And that
you can't escape that.
And it comes out, you know, whether you like it or not, whether you're trying to or not, you know, it's just gonna come out. There's no doubt about that. You were also comparing your personal musical growth, you know, between being in New Orleans and being on the West Coast, and you know, growing over there, but then realizing that New Orleans is still coming out. You know, it's still. I might not have wanted to take the lesson, but I took it regardless, whether I wanted to or not. And here we are. It's still coming out of me, right?
I show you how much, and this is a kid thing. This is what kids do. You know, some kids do. I didn't grow up in a musical family.
Right.
But I grew up in the Treme area.
Right.
I walked to Walter Payton's house to take lessons early on. I'm talking about Nicholas Payton's dad.
Right.
I didn't know who the fuck he was. I didn't care who he was. I went to Walter Payton and asked him to teach me how to play 1999.
Wow.
And he's like, you know what I'm saying? So like, you know, it's amazing the things you take for granted.
Right.
You know, I played in Congo Square as a kid.
Right.
You know, not even knowing the cultural significance of that. Now, there obviously lots of kids that grow up in the city who are taught. I didn't get that necessarily.
Right. You
know, I didn't get that. I had to go back and reverse engineer.
Yeah.
Like, damn, you know, wow, this is where I'm from. This is what's a part of my DNA.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Whether I like it or not. Anyway, I'm rambling, George.
No. It's all good. It is all good. Listen, this is exactly why I wanted you on, because I think that's so important to hear. It's, you know, for all the people out there watching, out there listening, your story is, of course, unique to you, right? But what might very well happen is that somebody hears something in what you say, and all of a sudden, you know, a light goes on, and it's like, oh, wait a second. Of course, I'm not from New Orleans, you know. I'm from the other side of the fucking world, right?
I'm from Brooklyn, baby.
Exactly. I almost wore
look at me, I'm so cool. I'm Austrian and I'm from Brooklyn also. And I eat chips.
Preferably not laced with adhesive. But hey, you know, if that's where you're at, that's where you're at. You know, you got. I
still got a chip Gorilla Groot in my. I know you. In my sternum.
You know, when you're hungry, you gotta eat. You know.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Oh, you know, the other thing is, so let me just finish this thought. Like, what is important, you know, for you to share this and for people out there to hear this is perhaps they can, you know, make a connection between their own background, right? Between where they're coming from and all of that. So that's why this stuff is important. At least to me, you know, because I know it makes a difference for me, right? One thing I see we got Mike Grio. Mike Grio, what's going on? How you doing? I'm just seeing the comments in the on Facebook.
I'm scared. I'm scared to know what the comments are.
Oh, the comments are all great. Joey Shoji is on from Berkeley. Will Bernard is on. Mike Rio is on. A whole bunch of friends are on. Joseph Wallace, Vincent Sansoni. I probably get that name wrong. I probably got that name wrong. So it's all good. People are loving this and
Cool.
and are getting into it. One thing that maybe to close out this hour, because at the beginning you presented your side of the chip story.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, we're going to close it out with George's side of the chip story. Oh, y'all put your hats on. Get your hip boots, because George about to go out the bullshit.
It's gotta happen. It's gotta happen. So here's how the whole situation presented itself to me, right? I had Ted come in to check out the book, right? We were at Berkeley Repertory Theater.
Yeah.
We got extended like a bunch
in Berkeley.
In Berkeley, we got extended a bunch of times, right? The show was making a lot of money, and sure enough, I get a call because I was playing with Suzanne Vega at the time, right? I get a call. Ooh, we got this.
Suzanne Vega?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we got this. There's the possibility of a gig with Suzanne, Madison Square Garden.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, wait a second. Okay. Well, let me see what I can do, right? So I started calling around. I called you.
I was the first call, though, right?
You were the first call.
Go ahead, George. Finish your story.
You were the first call.
I haven't smiled this much in a long time. Thank you.
Good. That's that's all good. So I called you. I called Kai Eckert. Because I also took a lesson with Kai Eckert while I was there, in 17. Which reminds me, I probably should do a video with him.
Yeah, you should.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Ooh, that's a good idea. Yeah. I gotta do that. All right. Got totally sidetracked. So anyway, I called Ted. Ted is nice enough, comes in to watch the show, which is what we do, right? To audit the show, as you say. Mm-hmm. Although we're on the West Coast, we're on the East Coast. We don't use that language. We say watching. You watch the show, okay?
Well, we say audit on the West
Yeah,
Coast.
what you bougie or what?
Sorry, buddy. Jeez.
So anyway,
touchy.
yeah, Ted comes in to watch the show. I think we're playing, first half, everything goes well. In the intermission, we need to go downstairs under the stage to change, because then at the end of the show, the band is sort of revealed in like all these white suits and whatnot. So we're under the stage, changing real quick, and as we go back up on stage, we go up the staircase, right? And the props are laid out for the second act, ready for people to carry them up on stage. It's a big show. I mean, there's like a whole bunch of props. There's like half a car. There's like a crib, and an office and phones. And of course, there is fake cold cuts and beer all over. Were you gonna make yourself a sandwich? I know this is messed up. This is really messed up. So anyway, I'm now in my white suit. I got my jacket in my hand, and I motion Ted to go up on stage, and he goes up in front of me, and he sees all of these props, right? And I mean, for what it's worth, they really look like the real deal, right? I mean, they were potato chips that were just sprayed with adhesive, right? So as I'm on my last couple steps, I kind of see Ted in front of me, and he reaches over and grabs a handful of chips out of the props bucket. And before I could say wait, he's eating them. I know this is. I'm sorry. I'm just. We heard your side of the story.
But I didn't know that you tried to stop me.
Well, it was too. That was exactly. It was like I was not the only one seeing it. There was like a stage manager next to me who was like,
I didn't know somebody else saw it.
yeah. So there was just the two of us, and I don't know who that is, who the stage manager is. So it was.
That's why I never got the gig.
It was just the funniest thing. I mean, it was. So of course, I was like, no, don't. No, he ate it. No.
Did you eat that?
So, in honor.
Cheers to you, my friend.
Thank you. So
George, this is a great thing that you're doing. I know that it started sort of in response to the pandemic.
Oh yeah.
But it's a good thing. I mean, we've had to change how we do stuff.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
So,
I mean, this, and it, kudos to my partner, to Alexis, who brought this up. Like when we pretty much a year ago,
mm-hmm.
I was not playing the show on March 12th when everything shut down. I was in a recording session, right? I was recording chamber music, and while we were recording, like every half hour, we would get these updates, right? That just said, okay, well, this just shut down, that just shut down. Sports stuff is shutting down. No basketball, no football, no nothing, right? And we were, in the studio recording away, and sure enough, then we got the word, okay, well, don't come in tonight. And you have to understand that you don't have to understand anything, but that is very, 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 very unusual for New York.
Yeah.
Right? Also when 9/11 happened, I believe Broadway shut down for maybe 10 days.
Yeah.
Something like that. And like during the last couple hurricanes, 1, maybe 2 nights.
Yeah. Well, I definitely understand. I mean, I was on Bourbon Street.
Well, there you go.
And the keyboard player came in with like a hazmat suit on, and he was like, on good authority that the city's about to shut down, and this is not the place you want to be.
Oh damn!
And I would ride my bike down to the quarter in the early days of it, and I'm glad I got to experience it because it had this very post-apocalyptic feel to it. And to give you more perspective on that, one day I was going to my gig, obviously last year, pre-pandemic, and there had been a police shooting right on the corner of Bourbon and St. Louis.
Right.
And I mean, and it was kind of justified. Well, it was justified. The guy was on Bourbon Street pointing a gun at people. And stuff. So they had the crime scene out there, and Bourbon Street is all roped off. And New Orleans, much like New York, has got all these different things happening, and it's just like, wow, all this shit juxtaposed to each other. And there's like a wedding. There's a body over here. There's a wedding going on over here. And I'm not, there's news reporters and all this, and I'm not knowing if we're even gonna play.
Right.
Cleaned everything up, cut the ropes. It's Bourbon Street again.
Right.
Just like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is some wild shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then to see like this
pandemic
shut it all down, like bizarre.
Yeah. Who would have ever thought that we were to experience something like that? I mean, this not in my wildest dreams. Not in my wildest dreams. This some crazy shit.
Well, George, I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful, for I've built some pretty good relationships from my following on YouTube. That's youtube.com/TED Talks Base for those who are interested. TED Talks Base on YouTube. Let me say it again for you. TED Talks Base on YouTube. Let's have a chip. It's like every time I say TED Talks Base, you should take a chip.
So terrible.
Oh, it's cheesy, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
not like those. Not like those Cheetos. And I told my lady, I said, if the music
it ain't easy being cheesy.
Hey, I told my lady, I said if the bass thing don't work out, I'll go into comedy. And everybody's like, man, we really hope that bass thing works out. So,
Yeah. Fingers
anyway,
crossed.
yeah, George, I gotta bounce, and I think you do too.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, man.
Oh, my pleasure. No, absolutely. Thanks so much for making yourself available. Um, and thanks again for the lesson back then and the lesson today, because that is really good information. Um, I am going to put up. I tried putting up a playlist that included Brother Theodore's music, which is your band
Yeah.
that you front. And for whatever reason, my Spotify didn't really work with my computer. So anyway, it is coming. It's just not in the description right now, but I will put it in there.
Hell no. Oh hell no.
You know, I,
I'm teasing,
and
George.
that deserves a Dorito. No,
You got Doritos.
listen, I got Lay's, I got cheesy doodles, I got Doritos, I got kettle chips. Okay,
You gonna need Sean T next.
I don't
Tony Horton.
Yeah, whatever,
Jim.
whatever that is. As long as I'm not eating adhesive.
All right. Touche.
Anyway, Tate Gould, thank you so much for being
Thank
here
you, brother.
today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
And you know, stay safe, stay sane out there.
I'll stay
you know,
safe. I don't know about the same part.
You know, you do what you can. You know, you do what you can. If you do what you can, it's all good. I have confidence in you.
All right, brother. I will see you later, George.
All right, you
Much
take
love
it
to you,
easy.
man. All right,
All right.
brother.
Later, my
Peace.
friend.
Bye-bye.
All right, for those who are still with me, I want to thank you all for being part of this today. This was a lot of fun. I want to thank my guest, Ted Gould. You can check him out on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. You can find him on YouTube. Just do a search for him, and I will also put up links to his various social media sites. I want to thank you all for being part of this. And as I say every week, be cool, be kind, and remember we only have each other. I'll see you all next week. All right, later.